Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of 10 Minute Marvel. I'm your host Petter. Today on 10 Minute Marvel, we have D23 to talk about as well as She-Hulk episode 4. I thought there was going to be more to talk about actually than there turned out to be. D23, I won't say it was a letdown, but I think it was a situation where expectations probably got away again. We should know by now that we're probably not going to get that far out in advance just because of schedules changing, things like that. But of course, we did. So let's get into the news and then we'll talk about She-Hulk. But before I get to all of that, I just want to thank you all for listening. I hope that you're enjoying this podcast. If you are, please consider subscribing, sharing it with your friends, or leaving a rating and review. You can find the podcast over on Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify. So probably the two big things for me that came out of D23, and there's a third big one as well, would be that we had two trailers come out. The first being Secret Invasion. Now, the Secret Invasion trailer, from what I understand, is basically what they showed at Comic-Con, but now they released it to the public. The Secret Invasion trailer is nuts to watch. This is going to be what I would say looks darker and grittier than like the Falcon and the Winter, not the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Captain America Winter Soldier, which was this big like spy espionage sort of thing. This looks like it ramps it up like 5 or 6 notches, and we definitely have Skrulls who are not good guys in this, which is one of the things that bugged me about Miss Marvel was that Skrulls, there are going to be different factions of Skrulls and not all of them are going to be good. We only really saw the good Skrulls in that, and it was just a matter of time before the other ones came, so it didn't feel like the payoff was there for Miss Marvel. But then we also got our first and probably only trailer for Werewolf by Night. Werewolf by Night is coming out October 7th, so not that far away at all, less than a month. And this is their Halloween kind of creature feature Marvel Studios special presentation, and it looks like a classic horror film. It is black and white. You have monsters that are more animatronic. The characters look over the top, and there is going to be one of them who is a werewolf. But how that all plays out, we're going to have to see. But I'm really excited for that one just because I doubt it ties into the MCU at all. But it looks different, it looks weird, and it looks fun. Then we have Armor Wars. Now, Armor Wars has been announced a while ago, but this is just kind of confirmation that yes, it is happening. Don Cheadle will be back for it. And then not much more on that. That one we kind of think is going to slip into Phase 5, but not really sure at that point. We have a villain for Ironheart, Anthony Ramos, who is going to be playing the Hood. Now, I think there had already been information that Anthony Ramos was going to be in it, but well, now we know that he is a villain, the Hood, and they were talking about it as kind of this idea of technology, Riri Williams, going up against magic or dark magic with the Hood. Ke-Huy Quan is joining Loki. He is from Everything Everywhere All at Once. I probably mispronounced his name, but it looks like he's going to be like an archivist or something like that within the TVA in Loki Season 2. We reported on this before, but it's officially confirmed now with the Fantastic Four that Matt Shakman is going to be directing that. I really thought we were going to get casting. This is the one thing that I am surprised we didn't get casting for. But I think it comes down to the fact that the deal with Matt Shakman was reached probably not that long ago. And they wanted him to have some of the final input on some of the casting. So my guess is we're going to get that sooner rather than later. And we have a returning character for Captain America New World Order with the leader, Tim Blake Nelson's character that was created in the Edward Norton Incredible Hulk. He is going to be the villain of this piece. Don't know how it's going to work. Looks interesting. It's an interesting spot to bring him back, as well as then we get the return of, I'm blanking on his name, but most likely the new Falcon, the young, military guy who was asking Sam Wilson about if Cap was on the moon. He is coming back for Captain America New World Order. And the other big one we have here is Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts we got a cast for, which I think there are a bunch of surprises in it, including an omission that I honestly expect will be clear that they are going to be in it by the end of She-Hulk. Abomination was not on the list. I fully expect Abomination or some Hulk to be on the list, and it's just a matter of time and wanting to do that reveal in She-Hulk. But we have Bucky Barnes, as well as Yelena Belova, Red Guardian. Red Guardian is the big surprise for me. Taskmaster, character that was okay in Black Widow, but that is 3 characters out of Black Widow. We have Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp, US Agent, and Valentina. It's an interesting group. Like I said, I fully expect Abomination or some Hulk to be a part of that group, but they want to save that announcement. And I'm also a little bit surprised we don't have Zemo. I almost wonder if Zemo might create a secondary group that is more villainous, more Dark Avengers, though this is very Dark Avengers as well. So it will be very interesting to see what is coming up. And then there also was a little bit more with the Marvels. With the Marvels, we kind of learned that the space swapping, what we saw at the end of Miss Marvel, is happening to all of the 3 characters whenever they use their powers. So that is interesting, and that's basically the announcements. Now, that is a fair amount of time for these announcements, so we're going to be quick with She-Hulk, but nothing super huge, which I think we were expecting a little bit more. Maybe the first trailer for Ant-Man and the Wasp, which that was there as well, but footage only for the Hall. So She-Hulk. She-Hulk was again a blast, this time with Wong and a Donnie Blaze, not Johnny Blaze, not Ghost Rider, but Donnie Blaze, a kind of hack of a magician, sorcerer who was using the sling ring for some cheap tricks. Also to throw a kegger at Carmitage, which got him kicked out. And then Jen with her dating life, in She-Hulk with her dating life. And the difference between those two. I think this is a solid episode. I wanted more courtroom. Like, there really wasn't much of any courtroom with the exception of Wong trying to get basically some sort of court order or something to get Donnie Blaze to stop using sorcery. The most interesting things I think that came out of this are we got to see more of Wong. We got to see him at Carmitage. We got to see him interact with a random normal person. Well, a random person. I won't call him Madison with a Y and 2 N's, but not where you think it is. A normal person. She is a wild child, to say the least, but that was an interesting interaction. And I really did enjoy the fact that we got to see Jen's kind of dating life, or we got to see probably a turning point, I would say, for her or maybe coming up here, a turning point of realizing that no, people are going to pay attention to her no matter what she does, no matter that the Abomination case is done, they're going to pay attention to her because she is She-Hulk. It doesn't matter that her high-profile case has been completed. Her life is still going to be different because she is She-Hulk. And I think that's going to be an issue for her. But that's also kind of some of the point of this series, is her getting used to the idea that she has these 2 parts and they are going to have to work together. She doesn't necessarily have the massive personality shift that the Hulk does, but she still has to deal with that people see her as 2 different people. And one of the things in the comics is that, she starts to see herself not really as 2 different people, but as a more confident, outgoing, in control of the situation person, as She-Hulk versus her more timid, quiet life as Jen. And I think we really saw that in this episode, and we've seen that in this series. And of course, we have a helicopter going overhead. But with that, we're going to wrap up. I'm excited for the things that are coming up. I just wish they had teased something a little bit bigger, a little bit more, maybe Blade. But we also have to realize that they were teasing and showing clips of stuff that are coming out after the next D23, after the next Comic-Con. So probably the expectation is whatever is coming out in the next calendar year, get more information on that, not 2-3 years down the line. But let me know, what is your favorite thing coming out of D23? You can do that over on Twitter. Tweet your thoughts to me at @thescando or with hashtag 10minmarvel. Or you can leave a comment over on nerdologists.com. But with that, again, thank you so much for listening. I hope that you are enjoying this podcast. There are a few ways you can help support at the beginning, but there's also a Patreon, patreon.com/nerdologists. The funds there go to help improve the quality of this podcast, as well as the Malts and Meeples YouTube channel and nerdologist.com website. But with that, I'll see you next time.